This is Steve Hiles welcoming you to episode 28 of the Teacher Rockstar podcast, a place where tips and strategies critical to the new teacher are discussed. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about tips on how to set up and organize Meet the Teacher Night. You know, this was one of the things that's always caused me a little bit to be leery, a little anxious because you wanted to make sure that you did it right. So I'm hoping that during this episode, the tips and strategies that we share concerning this topic will be of help to you. But before we continue, here's a word from our sponsor. I am so proud to announce our Teacher Rockstar Academy course. If you're a brand new teacher fresh out of college, a student teacher, or a teacher returning back to the classroom, this course is for you. Learn the tips, tools, and strategies for energizing your classroom management skills. Gain confidence and know what to do on day one. Enroll now at teacherrockstaracademy.com. That's teacherrockstaracademy.com and crush it during the first days of school and beyond. Okay, so let's dive right in. If you are in your first year of teaching or sixth, one thing that makes teachers a little leery, perhaps a little anxious, is Meet the Teacher Night. It can be the most stressful evening. You do get excited meeting your students, parents, but you're also stressed to think, what if something goes wrong? And I know from personal experience that was something that I always worried about. Now, for some teachers, it can be the most terrifying night of their career, but it doesn't really have to be. Obviously, they have to get their classroom organized on top of consecutive full days of service and information overload. While these trainings are all very necessary for the new school year, the thought of getting the classroom reorganized after summer cleaning and ready for the students in a very short amount of time can be very daunting, and to be honest, it is stressful. Yet, despite all the odds against us, my friend, we can make it fun, and we can definitely make it much more stress-free for us as well. So let's talk about your next Meet the Parents Night and how it can be a total success. Also, since we are living in arguably a virtual age, so it is only fair to have some tips on organizing the best Meet the Teacher Night virtually, but we'll talk more about that later. First, let's make your next Meet the Teacher Night a success, and I'm going to be discussing 9 tips here. The first tip is make it simple. Making things simple sounds counterintuitive, yet when we have a million and one things to do on top of the million and one things we already have to do for Meet the Teacher Night, it is easy to overlook these small but important details. For example, if you have forms for parents to fill out, leave pens and pencils that are readily available at their child's desk for them. Placing a sign at the designated area where you want parents to turn in the forms would also help avoid any confusion and free up your time to meet other students who are arriving. Any other information such as daily schedule and other important details should also be on the students' desks for parents to take home afterwards. Tip 2, keep it simple. Because Meet the Teacher Night can also be exciting and very overwhelming for students and parents. We should always do our best to keep it simple for them. Warmly greet them at the door. Ask parents to sign in. Find their child's table or desk and cubby, and encourage them to simply walk around the room. Labeling different learning areas will also help parents and students navigate through the classroom with ease while becoming more familiar with it. In addition, if you are teaching little ones, don't forget to ask parents to indicate how their child will be dismissed on the first day of school and for the rest of the year. Once you have this important information, you can begin making dismissal tags or lists before the first day of school. The next tip, enlist help to organize. Since students are likely to bring in their supplies that very night, organizing school supplies can be a very time-consuming task. Enlist help from parents and students. Not only is it fun for the kids, it also gives you a good idea of how much supplies you have coming into your classroom. Placing labels throughout the class with bins or baskets for parents and students to simply drop their supplies in has always been a big help for many teachers. And help does not have to end with organizing school supplies. If you would like for parents to sign up to volunteer in a classroom, or at your school, this is a wonderful opportunity to encourage them to do so. No matter if it is returning leveled books back to the library or reorganizing your classroom library or cutting out lamination, this is the perfect time to enlist help. The next tip, make it fun. Have parents and students walk away from your classroom filled with excitement and joy for the new school year, whether it be a photo booth or a simple gift for students to walk away with. Leave students with a happy memory of the evening. Okay, the next tip we'll discuss is your classroom doesn't have to be complete. Um, Many schools hold open house just before school starts, so students and parents can meet their new teacher before the first day of school, which personally I think is a great idea. While your classroom doesn't have to be perfect, let me be clear, or even completely set up and decorated, you do want families to feel comfortable and confident that their child will be spending their school day in a happy environment. In the primary grades, make sure you have a name tag and desk or table space for each child. Put away piles of unfinished products until after your open house. Empty spaces are better than cluttered ones, okay? And bare bones bulletin boards are okay as well. All right, the next tip, connect and communicate with your new families. Do your best not only greet and spend a moment with each family, but to make a connection and begin a relationship. Help students make connections too. Ask each child to look at the class name tags to see if they know anyone in their new class. The next tip is very important, and that is manage your time. With many families arriving at once, your time with students and parents is limited. Okay, so what you want to do is make the most of it by making eye contact with each child as they arrive. If you are busy with another student, give them a big smile and I see you and I'll be right there signal. Meet the Teacher Night is not a time to hold individual conferences with parents. I want to make that very, very clear. Okay, Meet the Teacher Night is not a time to hold individual conferences. Most schools hold open house for 60 to 90 minutes with families continually coming and going during this time. If you find a parent um, needs to speak with you in more depth, then you could set up a time when you can call them and ask them to be sure to include information for you on Help Me Get to Know Your Child sheet. All right, the next tip is set up simple parent stations. Ensure that all parents know what to do and where to put supplies with step-by-step procedural posters. Use signs to set up a system that runs itself so that you are free to spend time with parents and students. This gets parents started while they wait to see you. All right. And we have make it easy to collect student information. Good tip here. My first priority during Meet the Teacher Night is to welcome my students and to make them feel comfortable. Now, my second priority is to collect key information I need from parents, okay, to provide parents with information that they will need from me. I highly recommend a parent sign-in sheet as the first thing parents do when they arrive. Now, every school that I've been into basically requires it, okay? Um, at any rate, many schools in almost every part of the world are now closed because of the pandemic. And planning of distance learning is an action, but learning is not only, it's not the only thing that creates a learning environment, and teachers should get prepared for activities like Meet the Teacher to be soon organized virtually. It is understandable that the hardest part of distance education is faced by educators who have to spend extra hours to make sure the lesson is suitable to be delivered on Google Classroom and that students will understand the concepts the way that they're supposed to. So let's take a look at some of the ways how you can rock your virtual meet and greet. All right. All right. Introduce your virtual classroom. Okay, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips here as we go through this. As you put together your virtual Meet the Teacher plans, don't forget to show your students their virtual classroom. Now, since students won't be seeing their actual classroom for a while, consider using Loom or Screencastify to record your screen and make a quick video of your online classroom. If you use Google Classroom, you could even create fun headers to customize your class. In your classroom tour, show parents where to access assignments, grades, feedback, and any messages you may send them. All right, this tip here, familiarize parents with the learning platform, and I think that's crucial here. If you will begin the school year via distance learning, okay, let's say, it is important to provide parents with information on how to use Zoom, Seesaw, Teams, Canvas, or any other platform or websites that you will be using. Be sure to explain the rules and routines that you will use for class meetings and completing and turning in assignments. Very important there. The next tip is digitize your parent forms. I can't emphasize that enough here. During a typical Meet the Teacher open house, I set up parent stations around the room with different tasks and forms I need parents to complete. For a virtual open house, you can still easily collect the same information by digitizing your forms. Once you do so, you can easily email the forms to parents or share them in the online platform that you are using. All right, the next tip is send a Meet the Teacher letter. Over the years, okay, many parents have told me how excited their student was to receive a letter from me prior to Meet the Teacher night. Teacher letters or just a simple postcard are wonderful ways to let students know you are excited to meet them and have them in your class. Whether you mail them out ahead of time or give them to families at your open house. Letters from the teacher are a great way to introduce yourself. Students love to know a bit of personal information about their teacher. All right, we have another word from our sponsor. Hey, my friend, would you like to liven up your writer's workshop with an engaging, exciting activity for your students? Grab my free Let's Write a Book activity. This resource comes complete with templates and step-by-step directions for creating their very own mini book. Students will feel proud as authors of their very own book. All you have to do is simply go to getstartedontheRightFoot.com. That's getstartedontheRightFoot.com. Your kids are going to absolutely love this activity. Okay, let's continue on with our episode. The next tip is send forms to parents. Whether you are using Google Classroom or another online platform, you can share with parents all the forms and documents right on the platform that you're using. Provide instructions for how to log in and find the documents you need, as well as how to access assignments for your students. This will familiarize parents with the platform so that they can help their student if needed before school starts. Sending all your information forms to parents via your platform makes it easy for parents to fill them out, and even easier for you to track who has accessed and completed them. Collecting all the information digitally saves you a ton of time and paper, believe me, and prevents you from having to chase down missing forms. The next tip. Schedule a Meet Your Teacher video chat. The easiest way to meet your students virtually is to do a short video chat on Zoom with each family, much like you would schedule parent-teacher conferences. Prepare a schedule of available times and invite your parents to sign up for a chat. Now, what you want to do here is keep your meeting short, okay? Let's say to about 5 minutes, and load the times into a schedule app. All right, well, I hope this was very helpful to you. This brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks for listening to the Teacher Rockstar podcast. I'm your host, Steve Hiles, and we hope you've enjoyed listening to these tips and strategies on how to set up and organize Meet the Teacher Night. You know, it doesn't have to be a frightening experience, and it doesn't have to make you overly anxious. I find that when you plan it and are prepared, things go a lot smoother. At any rate, when you get a moment, please visit my blog and subscribe to my newsletter for the latest educational research, freebies, and unadvertised bonuses at stevesclassroomresources.blogspot.com. That's stevesclassroomresources.blogspot.com. And don't forget to subscribe to us at the Teacher Rockstar Podcast. And if you'd like to support us, feel free to share our podcast with others, post about it on social media, or leave us a rating and review. Thanks again, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. And remember, my friend, you got this.